Women have an unfair advantage. This is something, to me, that is quite clear and quite evident, but unfortunately, I do not think the world, and I do not think women, talk about this problem enough. If anything, it's actually the inverted version of that, where women will complain about the rights that they don't have or how oppressed they are, when, to be completely honest with you, this just seems like a delusion to me. A falsified illusion of victimhood that women have painted onto themselves, that they have learned to naturally sway towards. And a lot of young women even have this mindset against men from the time that they can begin to have their first free thoughts. And it's really because, social media, society, everything programs these people and these girls to think this way, to act this way, to think so much against men, because as I've mentioned and as we should all know, the system wants a divide between men and women. And there's plenty of talk criticizing men for how they contribute to the divide, but I don't think, and I don't hear myself, enough talk from women on this topic. And we are a huge part of the problem. It's not just men, so let's not talk about that. I'm not talking about men's problems because I'm not a man, and yes, I can articulate some thoughts on the issues of men, but there's plenty of that. The world criticizes men. The world is hard on men. It's very rare that you see the world criticizing women in an actual positive way with a solution. So let's circle back around. We women have an advantage in modern society that no one talks enough about. And the moment they do talk about it, it's called misogyny. So I'm going to go ahead and say right here, right now, if you believe I am a misogynist, by all means, call me a misogynist. Because if my beliefs in this video make me a misogynist, then I guess that's what I'll have to be. The average woman doesn't even need to be over a 6, okay? The average woman can post anything about herself online, and the attention, the validation will just start rolling in, okay? Just the average day woman can receive more validation than a typical man in a year. She will receive more validation in a day than a typical man will in his entire year. What does this do to the human psyche? What does this do to the woman's brain? Women's brains are not wired the same as men's. I believe that our brains are weaker in certain areas than men's. But what does this do? This has to be detrimental to our psyches, right? I mean, it really makes underqualified women believe and genuinely believe that they deserve so much more than they do. To put this illusion in their head that they are something that they're not. And they live like this, and they expect people to treat them like how they believe themselves to be, when in reality they're not even close to what they believe themselves to be. Social media and the people that react to the things, it's all an illusion. It's a dopamine hit, it's an illusion, and a lot of people are walking around, in my opinion, deluded about their own reality. Growing up in my teenage and young adult years, I'm still a young adult, obviously, I'm 23, which should go to speak for a lot about what I'm going to say. I'm only 23, and I've seen endless times where I had friends and they would be getting unlimited offers of money, dates, problem solving, advice, someone to talk to, whatever it was, from men, from people, just because they were a woman and nothing more, nothing less. Just because they were a woman. They were nothing, exceptionally attractive. They were nothing exceptionally intelligent. They were nothing exceptionally anything. It was just because they were a woman. And I noticed these things from a young age, how screwed up it was. A woman could get away with something that a man would never get away with. And I don't think that this is acceptable. Of course, women should not be treated the same as men in certain situations. But I think that the real issue I'm getting to today on this video is that women have such expectations and entitlement towards a certain type of treatment that they do not earn, that they do not deserve, and I think that is a huge detriment to society overall, as a whole. The problem of this example I gave, the woman posting on social media and getting all this attention, it's not receiving the attention itself that is the problem. The real problem with this is what happens when a person gets unlimited attention, which previous generations had to work very hard to earn. It just completely screws up your expectations, especially as a woman. Some key things that I want to talk about on this video are women keeping men as satellites. One goes out, one loses signal with her. That's okay, because she has 10 others that she's been keeping as satellites that she can ping when she needs things. Number 2, unrealistic dating standards. Okay, you're a 5. You do drugs. You don't take care of yourself. You post promiscuously constantly on Instagram. You use people for things all the time, and you believe you deserve a 6'5" millionaire. You know, most girls I talk to today, they actually think they deserve a man who makes $1 million a year minimum, 6 foot or above, this. They have a whole list. But in reality, they're bringing literally nothing to the table except one thing, and you guys know what that thing is. OnlyFans. Selling your body for 99 cents in one click of a button. You know, this is actually insane, guys. We've all seen this on social media. We all know these things. But actually take a second to think about what is happening and what is going on. It's crazy. We were never meant to be this way. The world is breaking in front of our face. And women, we have a lot to answer to for this, because we are contributing more than you guys think, and more than you actually take responsibility for. Women, if you're watching this video and you disagree with something I'm saying already, I want you to think about the last time you went to work and you were scared to make a joke, because you might be reported for that joke and lose your entire job and ruin your reputation. Can you ever think about a scenario where that happened to you? Because I can't. But I'm pretty sure most average men have to think about that. They have to think about the way they say things. They have to think about the jokes they make, because if they do one wrong thing and offend one wrong woman, that woman can go with no evidence to the boss and get him fired and ruin his entire life. That's how much power we have that you modern day women don't recognize. You constantly play victim, not realizing you have so much unfair advantage that you don't even use in a positive way. A lot of women use this unfair advantage to ruin people's lives, and they have no remorse about it. Women, including myself, I'm not perfect by any means. I don't want to come across in a way that makes me seem like I think I'm perfect, because I know I'm not perfect. I've learned lessons. That's how I am able to sit here and have these thoughts, because I've observed and I have, taken accountability and taken responsibility for my actions in the past. That's the only way I'm able to come to these conclusions. So don't take it the wrong way. I know I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. The point of me making this video is so that you might be able to open your eyes and learn and act differently in the future, and be grateful for the advantages that you do have by result of the new society in the modern world and what they push. You don't have to use these things to take advantage of other people and to ruin other people's lives. Most modern women, they're living almost thinking like a child through life. Women are very childlike, and I do think that this plays into something that is a blessing for us. We are supposed to be more innocent. We are supposed to be more happy. We're not supposed to have the same stresses and struggles as a man. But the problem is that the modern women, and the way that society is encouraging women to think and to act, is to constantly be on attack towards a man, just for the man existing. And we don't realize the advantages that we inherently have without even trying. If you sit down and think about it, the average everyday man goes to a 9-to-5 job that he doesn't want to work at because he has to provide for his family. And he goes there all day, puts up with the boss's stuff, puts up with the customer stuff, does what he needs to do just to come home to a wife who doesn't want to give him personal affections ever. She always complains, she always has a headache, she always has a problem. And he comes home to kids that don't respect him because the mom never instills discipline into the children, and she's always self-centered about herself and worried about what's going on with her. That most women don't actually pour anything into anybody else except themselves. Modern day women. Of course, general terms here, always exceptions to the rule, but overall, this is what's happening, especially in the Western society. Do you have to think about those things? Do you, as a woman, go to your job, come home, put up with people who disrespect you, who don't want to serve you? No, you don't. And even if you work a job that drains you, you're still getting constant validation, attention, and offers from men in the outside world just because you're a woman. Men don't get that. Put that in your head. You are born a woman. You are born with an unfair advantage. Be grateful for it. Stop complaining. The world is trying to divide us because they want us to break and to fall apart. The original structure for humanity was always that the man's going to protect and provide, and the woman will give him support and children. And this is just completely broken apart. You know, the woman might give a man children now, but support, no. She will be miserable. She will be constantly asking for more while not being grateful for what she has. And the man is expected to keep providing, keep performing, keep protecting, while getting nothing in return, because the woman is ungrateful, entitled, and complaining all the time. That is the average experience of the daily man. And the average experience of the daily woman is nothing like that. Even if you think you're miserable, you have no real misery to compare your misery to, if that makes sense. Most modern day women always have the backup plan of selling their for 99 cents on OnlyFans. Men don't even have that option, and I'm not promoting that. But you have that option because society is so broken that it's put women on this pedestal of idolatry towards degenerate people, and women take advantage of that all the time. Women have no self-respect for themselves, but they complain that no man respects them enough. They want the best man when they're not the best person. They want the best man when they're literally like a street prostitute online. And to bring me to my next point, I am so tired of women thinking that they're inherently born with all this value that they should be chased and sought after and invested into, when in reality, there's no difference between most modern day women and hookers, because most modern day women use men for dates, for free dinners, use men to pay for their nails, use men for their weed. They are hopping from man to man to get free things. And in my opinion, that's no different than a hooker. You're just not presenting yourself that way, but you're doing the exact same things, which in result lowers your value because your integrity is shot. Just watch any podcast online where the average girl will talk about the man that she wants, top 1%, 6'5", owns a yacht, lives in Miami, this and that. She will talk about all these things that she wants and how high her standards are, but at the same time, the second she leaves that podcast, what is she gonna go do? She's gonna go hit up her satellites for free weed and free dinner, just like a hooker. So it doesn't even make sense. Women don't actually hold themselves to the standards that they set for the partner that they want, which also links to women are always complaining about how there's no men good enough to marry. But in reality, feminists are the thing that created that. Feminists said that we don't want to get married anymore. We want to be independent, girl boss, this and that. And men said, okay, you want that? All right. So now men aren't getting married because there's so much at risk for men when they get married. There's nothing at risk for the woman when she gets married. Most women don't even want kids, which is what's the point of getting married if you don't want kids? I don't understand. And the feminists that do want to get married, they want to get married to the top 1%. And they don't even give the average, everyday, hardworking man a chance. The men building your roads, the men building your houses, the men working hard every single day, the men that will actually be an amazing husband, modern day women don't even look at, don't even give a chance, just because they're so entitled. And they put so much value onto themselves just because. And it bothers me how society constantly talks about male privilege. If you open up TikTok for any amount of time, it will be a matter of minutes before you come across a video of women complaining about how she has a disadvantage in the workforce or a disadvantage in life and how it's not fair and she's tired of this, she's tired of that. But it's so humorous to me to hear those things because in reality it's switched. It's the opposite, and I can't believe so many women don't see that. Do you guys remember that trend where women were choosing the bear over men? It was where women said that they would rather be alone in the woods with a bear rather than a man. The irony is that the same society that even allowed you women to have that opinion to begin with was built by men. The roads you drive on, the bridges you cross, the house that you're living in, the electricity lines that bring power into your home, the water that you drink, the firefighters that run into burning buildings to save you, the construction workers that hang off of skyscrapers to build buildings to bring you business, and the endless amounts of men who died in ditches for your freedom are the same people that you criticize constantly and demonize. And it's sick that somehow we've managed to grow into a sick, twisted society where the thought of even comparing a man to a bear became a trend. Are there bad men? Of course there are bad men. There's bad people in every single group. If I was to point out a certain degenerate behavior or bad person of a certain race, that would be called racism. But women, you think it's okay to group all men into a category of bad and compare them to a wild animal? You don't think that's insane? Look at the double standard there. That's another example of your unfair advantage in the society. You get to judge a whole other gender just because you're a woman and you don't get called out for it. The average man isn't your enemy, so stop thinking that. I'm tired of seeing women complaining about men all over social media. Stop being this way. It is not healthy to you. It is not healthy to anybody, and it is not healthy to the children that you are bringing up to think the same way. These men are your husbands, your brothers, your fathers, the man fixing your power after a storm, the man helping the world run so that you can live your pretty little life every single day. A society that teaches women to fear men, the very people who built and maintain the society that we live in, it's a society that has grown much too far into its entitlement.